130 amp brushless ESC, 777 Spectrum Reef Servo Highway 1 RC made build, Lexan body, Frank, the Tank, Dual RC 2.2-inch Mudslinger tires. Welcome back to the workshop here in TandemCTelevision Studios, and we're going to be getting back to work on Willie's Bar and Grill here in just a second. But I just quickly wanted to say I've had to overdub all of this audio you're hearing. So if my hands are doing weird things, that's because the video and the audio don't match up. I've had all kinds of computer and all kinds of camera issues this week. That's actually why this update's late. So I just wanted to let you know if I'm doing weird hand gestures that doesn't match exactly what I'm saying, that's because I'm overdubbing all of this audio. But we are getting back to work on Willie's Bar and Grill. This is a large building that a large scale building that we're building for an entire scale city that we're going to be using for a series here on the channel. Now, this is probably going to be the last update I do on Willie's Bar and Grill. I'm going to try to get this to a finish point or close enough to a finish point where we can move on and get back to working on the trucks and the vehicles for the series. In fact, let me know down in the comment section down below, would you rather see the very final details done on Willie's Bar and Grill, or would you rather see us get back to work on the trucks and vehicles? But I am, in this update, going to get Willie's Bar and Grill to a point of pretty much being done. I think some of the fine details and some of the small stuff I'll do off camera, and maybe just give some photos or something as an update of where that's at if we go that way. Now, let me know down in the comments if you want me to completely finish Willie's Bar and Grill here on camera for you guys. Let me know down below. But I really think you guys would rather see us move on to some of the vehicle builds. But anyways, let's go ahead and get to work on Willie's Bar and Grill, starting with a little montage.
I need 'cause I like it, boom, bum, 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 body. I need 'cause I like it, boom, bum, 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 body. I need 'cause I like it, boom, bum, 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 body. I need 'cause I like it, boom, bum, 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 body. Estoy pensando en ti, solo en ti, lo siento. Sé que no sabes de mí, pero yo sí, y te quiero. Eres yo de alguien más y no puedo obligar a tus sentimientos, a tus sentimientos. Quiero que sepas de mí, ser amigos, algo así, y después veremos. I need 'cause I like it.
Frank, buddy, that's enough. You want to do this? Go right ahead. Guess Frank's going to finish up for us so we can get back to work on the front railings for Willie's Bar and Grill. Want to get the lights wired up and powered just so we can take a look what they look like. With that done, we can see, sorry about the footage, I had to switch to my cell phone and the video's not that great, but I think it's going to look pretty good. I think we've got a pretty good idea what these lights are going to look like, and it doesn't look too bad. Guess it's time we better go check and see how Frank's doing. Well, I think he did a pretty good job here. He gave us a nice clean coat of primer. Everything looks nice and smooth, a good base to start from, because now what we're going to do, or what we need to do, is add the weathering. This is going to be the most fun part, I think, of the whole project, is actually weathering this up and making it look like it fits in an apocalypse. And don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit through another annoying montage. I'm going to walk you through this step by step of exactly how I go about weathering this building. And I'm going to start by adding texture to the flat parts of the wall using some wood putty, just simply applying wood putty randomly. And I'm applying it kind of dry. I want it to be gritty and have some texture to it, and I want to keep it very random. I don't want a uniform coating of the wood putty. I want to keep it random. Like there's been patches made to the walls over the years. There's been damage made. There's been damage and fixes made to the wall. So I want to keep it real random. Keep it very dry, very gritty, and just to give a nice texture, nice random texture to the flat parts of the wall. With all the wood putty applied, I think this gives us a pretty good base to work from. At first, I thought maybe I was applying too much wood putty, but I think this is going to work pretty well. I like how it turned out, but I do want to do one more thing. I want to take some 220 grit sandpaper and just knock down all the high points. I think over the years, so if there was repairs made and there were high points or whatever, over the years that would wear down from just weather and just age would wear down any of the high points. So I'm going to take the sandpaper and just knock down all the high points, get it a little bit more of a consistent texture. Now I can add another coat of primer, and this gives us a really good look at where we're at so far. And I always advise, as you make changes, go ahead and go back and add another coat of primer. So that's whether you're doing custom work on a truck body or you're doing work on a building's wall like we are right now. Add that coat of primer to give you that consistent color so you can see what's really going on so far. And if I move in closer, you can really see the textures that we're working with, how the wood putty gives an inconsistency in texture and an age, what I think at least is starting to look like age to the wall. I really like how this is turning out. But now it's time for the fun part, and that's grabbing a large screwdriver and adding the big imperfections. I just bang away. I don't really have any rhyme or reason to how I'm hitting this and banging on the wall, but I try to just keep it inconsistent and just add some large gouges here and there. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're really getting this building to where I want it to be as far as a weathering and age standpoint. It's starting to really look like it's gone through some things. It's seen some stuff. It's had a lot going on around this building. This just added some damage and given it some character. I also want to give some color variation to the wall. We've got good texture variation going on, but I want to add some color variation. I'll do that by just using a brown wash, a nice thin brown wash, and painting the molding that's running horizontal across the walls. And I think this will break up that solid wall and really define the different floors of the wall or of the building. I'm going to continue adding the brown wash color to also the molding details up at the top of the building. And you can probably hear behind me, my daughter decided to join us outside also. I'm going to quickly give the whole thing a clear coat, and this will help seal in the color, because what we're going to do next is add washes on top of this to really make it dirty and grimy. So I want to seal in all this color and all this work we've already done. I want to seal that in before adding the washes on top. Because of the size of this building, we're going to need a lot of black wash. So the most economical way to do this is just to make it ourselves, and that's just what I did. So I took a jar that I had laying around. I mixed a little bit of acrylic black paint, water, and just a touch of hand soap to help it flow. Mix that up really well, and then I'll apply it over the whole building, over the entire walls with a nice sized brush, giving a nice liberal coat, letting it flow into all the creases and crevices, and then I'll come back with a rag and just kind of lightly wipe it off. And I'll do this process about 4 or 5 times, basically just trying to bring out all the details of that wood filler that we had added, just to make that pop a little better. With everything dry, I went ahead and moved the building back in and paired it back up with the front fascia for Willie's Bar and Grill, so we can take a look at kind of where we're at. And I've switched over to photographs because I've been having so much trouble with my camera. I think we're going to get a better look at this through photographs. It'll give us a more detailed look. And you can see, I think it's starting to look pretty good. I also took a photograph from ground view during the series CCG 2084. This is most likely more of the view that we're going to get. It's kind of from a first-person view from the ground up. So that's what we need to keep in mind too while we're working on this, is this is the perspective we'll probably be looking at the top of this building. I've also been trying to come up with some ideas or some detail ideas for the building and the windows and whatnot. And one of them was adding an AC unit, a window unit, like make it look like they've scavenged a window unit and added so they can get some AC. I think this gives it kind of a cool look. It gives it some dimension, a along with just a little bit of detail, I also added some moss to the building. I want to start making it look like nature's kind of taken over, or had been taken over a little bit. So you got some moss growing on the walls and some different foliage that's going to be on the walls. I think I'm going to add more of this. It also brings in another color, so it's not so gray. We can bring in some greens and some oranges and some browns and that kind of colors with some foliage. And then I also thought about papering up some of the windows, or more like blacking out some of the windows using like brown paper bags, or maybe even aluminum foil or something like that. Maybe the people inside are doing something a little on the shady side, so they want to keep the windows covered. So that was an idea I had. I also thought about having some of the windows prop open with just sticks. So the particular people living in this room or this building, maybe they weren't able to scavenge an AC unit, so they've got to just prop open the window. Because of age, the window won't stay up on its own, so it's having to prop it open with a stick. And I've also started adding the fire escapes. I've only got one of them printed so far. There'll be fire escapes on every level. I think this definitely gives a good detail. It's also going to give a place where we can set things out on the fire escape, which adds even more detail. Maybe there's some debris or some junk or whatever out on the fire escape that's collected out there. I think that's going to give a little more detail. But I think it's looking pretty good. Let me know what you think down below. Leave a comment down below. Do you have any ideas? I know y'all in the past have given me good ideas about some details for the different buildings. Remember, not all of these details will we necessarily just use on Willie's Bar and Grill. There's going to be a bunch of buildings that we're going to be putting together, so we need to we need these kind of ideas to spread across all of the buildings for the city. Leave me those comments down below. Hit that like button if you would. It really does help in the old YouTube algorithms. So hit that like button down below. I really would appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button if you want to keep up with these builds. Sorry about how late this one was. I've been having a lot of technical issues trying to get those worked out. Hopefully we'll get back on track where we need to be, but hit that subscribe button so when these updates do come out, you're able to catch them and you get notified about them. Thanks for joining me, guys. Thanks for being patient on these updates, and I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.